Welcome back. Okay, just before we get into World War One and how that impacted women's wear, I completely forgot that actually in sort of 1911, a very popular French designer at the time, Paul Poiret, held a party to launch his new collection. It was called Arabian Nights, which, and looking back now through a modern gaze, it's a bit gross. However, the thing he was showing off was his new designs, which were Turkish trousers, also known as the jupe culotte or the jupe pantalon, which basically meant skirt trouser. And he was making them these exotic items of clothing, and because this was Paris, they were sold to women as fashionable rather than political, so they were much more sort of accepted, maybe isn't the right word, but it was like a fashionable thing to be seen in. So it didn't have that same there weren't the same issues that there were in the UK and the US around women wearing trousers like this. Now, I wasn't a massive fan of Downton Abbey, but there is an episode, maybe in the first series, where the youngest sister, like I said, I'm not a fan, I can't even remember her name, but she comes down wearing this new fashion and it's trousers, and it is like, oh, this big reveal. That's the kind of thing that he was designing and making and trying to sell. There's this new trend. So, that's 1911. So we've come a long way in 60 years. But then you get World War One. If you can hear movement, it's Luna flopping down in her bed very dramatically, and also me flipping through my notes. Because I just don't want to miss anything. So World War One hits, all the men are sent off to fight, and women are then expected to go and work, finally, which is what they've been asking to do anyway. But they're expected to go and work, and they are working in places where long dresses and crinolines and all that kind of stuff, they're not safe. If you're in a factory, doing hard physical graft, and munitions factories, all that kind of thing, you might be welding something. I think that's more World War II, but anyway, so they're working away in factories, they can't be wearing dresses, it's just not gonna work. So suddenly it's okay for them to be wearing boiler suits and trousers because it is practical and it is safe. And there's no men really, everything's flipped on its head. It is wartime. The old rules don't apply right now. We've just got to get on and do it. So suddenly it's okay for women to be wearing these in the workplace. Very specific. But in Puerto Rico, we're talking in 1919, so not, around this time, a woman called Luisa Capetillo, I really hope I pronounced that right, was arrested for wearing trousers. So it's still happening. Women are still being arrested for this, even though in other places it's yay, it's okay. In some countries it's still not. And then obviously you have the interwar periods of the 1920s, 1930s. You have suffrage, women getting the vote. You have much more independence, much more social autonomy. Sports have kicked up yet another gear, women getting involved in sports like tennis and things. So then you also get film stars in the 1930s being seen, being photographed in magazines at award ceremonies, wearing trousers and trouser suits. So my absolute favourites of these, Katharine Hepburn is like one of my biggest style icons. Oh my god, I love her. And Marlene Dietrich, who, oh my god, in a tux, oh, she's incredible. So they're making real statements and real waves by refusing to wear what Hollywood sort of wants them to wear, and they are using menswear, men's tailoring, trousers, to sort of have more of an androgynous look, to sort of, you know, and trousers have a lot of power. You know, you've heard the phrase like, who wears the pants in the relationship? Because traditionally men wore the trousers and men had all the power. And it was used as like an insult if the woman wore the trousers in the relationship, because that dynamic was different and it was seen as like an insult to the man. So for these film stars to be seen wearing trousers in public and events was a really big deal, and it was like it became more and more accepted, and women wanted to follow these superstars who looked very stylish, you know, and it kind of gave them the go ahead that it was okay to do this. And then of course there is Vogue does its first ever feature on women, like on trousers and, or as they were called, slacks, in 1939. So that's, you know, God, it took so long. And then of course World War II hits.